Man. Yep, man. Hola weirdos y bienvenido a mi canal. And for all y'all basic hoes out there who don't know what that means, it's Spanish for bienvenido. Oh, that's still Spanish. It's Spanish for welcome to my channel. So for today's video, I know I'm wearing the same shirt. I filmed this video in the same night as my Elizabeth Bathory video, but I have my popcorn here and my Valentina, so I figured I would just do kind of like a mukbang thing and tell you guys the story of when my uncle almost got murdered by La Llorona and how my sister-in-law also almost got murdered by La Llorona. So if you guys are interested in that, grab your popcorn, grab your coffee, get comfy, and get ready to get spooked. Okay, so real quick before I get into the story about my uncle, for those of you who don't know, yo soy latino y si quiere ver un video solo en español, pone un cámara abajo y voy a ver qué puedo hacer para ustedes, ¿ok? Okay. Okay. So, my uncle. My uncle, when he was about 12, I would say, I think that's what he said. Yeah, he was about 12 and he was in Mexico, and his parents wouldn't let him go play with his cousins down at the river because they said he was still too young and all that good stuff. And one day they were going out, it was super hot, everybody was going to be down there, his parents were going to be away doing their own thing, and he was going to be at the house all by himself, so he begged and begged and begged to for them to let him go to the river with his cousins. So they finally let him go. And they were like, but you have to be back before dark. If you're not back before dark, we're going to come down there and get you. And we're going to give you un chanclazo y all that good stuff. And so he was like, yes, I'll be back. Cool, whatever. So then he goes down to the river with his cousins. And he's just like, you know, playing, having a good time. You know, it's really hot. And kind of off in the distance, there's this like shelter, homemade like shelter thing that's like was a piece of plastic that was propped up by sticks, and it was used for like shade, and it was just like some random plastic. So it was just sitting there in the distance, and they weren't down there because it was really hot. They were playing in the water. They didn't really need to go have some shade, so they didn't really pay attention to that until it got closer to dark, and they were playing, and all of a sudden they hear some crying. And at this time, my uncle hadn't been told the story of La Llorona because he was a really good kid. They didn't really need to tell him, you know, like, oh, if you misbehave, like, La Llorona's gonna come get you, you know, all that good stuff. So, he didn't really know about La Llorona, but his cousins did. So, as soon as his cousins heard the crying and they all looked over and they saw a piece of the plastic blow in the wind, and as it blew up, as it blew up in the wind, they saw a woman in white kneeling over the water, crying, and he says he remembers that her specifically, you know, being like the stereotypical like mis hijos, you know, that whole thing. And so he's over there like stunned, like maybe we need to go help her find her kids, like, you know, what's going on. And their cousins, his cousins, little does he know, have already started sprinting back to the house, and he's already the youngest one, so he's already slower. And he yelled over to her and he was like, hey, do you need any help? Which will be the biggest mistake he will ever have made in his whole life. So, I mean, like, who just yells out to La Llorona, hey, do you need help? Like, hello? Is it not creepy enough that there is a random woman kneeling over a river in a white dress crying for her kids? Like, come on. But I digress. So one of his older cousins came back and was like, dude, we gotta go. This is not who you think it is. She's not a good person. We already know who this is. I don't have time to explain it to you. And then they started sprinting. And by this time, La Llorona had already, you know, did the whole stereotypical scary movie, like, creepy looking up thing. And she caught sight of the kids and started sprinting after them. Yeah. So they were running really fast. And the house is a little bit far away. And in between the house and the river, there's like a fence. And his cousins are a lot taller than him. He's really short. He's still a really short dude. And so they're all jumping over the fence, and La Llorona's like screaming at this point. They said they remember her just being like, ah! And so she's right behind them, catching up, and he's the last one to try to jump over this fence, right? And as he's jumping the fence, his arm gets caught on the fence, of course, right? And La Llorona grabs his arm with her long fingers and her long fingernails, he says. And he says that when he pulled his arm away, she jerked his arm back. And when he finally got his arm free, she scratched him. And he literally, I kid you not, on my life and everything, I promise you, he has freaking scars down his arm from where she scratched him. I kid you not. You know, he could be lying. It could be from a bear or it could be from a bar fight. Who knows? But they're literally like in the shape of a hand, like legit scratches. But anyway, so when they got back to the house, he was screaming and crying like, oh my God, what just happened? What just happened? And then they finally, his cousins were able to get inside the house into safety. His parents were already home. It wasn't even dark yet. So they were like, what are you guys doing home? I thought you wouldn't be back until after dark and we'd have to come get you, you know? And he was like, there was this crazy woman in a white dress who chased us down and scratched the crap out of me and my arm. Look, I'm bleeding, you know what I mean? Like, and they were like, and his cousins were like, no, it wasn't just some random woman. It was La Llorona. And he like, and then he told, like, the cousins like told his parents, like, he literally like called out to her. Like, he was like, La Llorona, like, do you need help? Like, hello. And then they were like, you did not, and you're still alive. Like, it's amazing. Like, they were like, it's only because El Dios like was on his side at the time. So anyway, so they finally told him the story of La Llorona and why it's bad to freaking call out for her. So yeah, that's my uncle's story. He's still alive to tell the story today, thank God. So on to my sister-in-law's story. She visited my grandmother-in-law in Mexico because she was up here visiting, and they rode back with her on the bus. And one night, now they live in a really small like rancho area in Mexico, and it's really, you know, popular to see La Llorona or see La Lechuza or una bruja or algo así, you know what I mean? So anyway, she remembers being in the bedroom. In the bedroom that she was in, there was a door to the outside. And she was sleeping with her little, like, I guess it would be our little cousin-in-law, like a little bitty, one of the little primitas. And so this little kid was asleep. She's used to it. She doesn't mind it anymore. Like, she's used to hearing this stuff all night long. And my sister-in-law, she was kind of awake still. And she remembers hearing this crying outside the door. And she remembers hearing the door, like, rattling, trying to like open. And yeah, she said she freaked out. The crying kept continuing, and then the crying went around to the window, and she was super terrified. I mean, I would be terrified too if La Llorona was trying to come in and steal me away at nighttime. And you know what, she's grown, like my sister-in-law's grown, so she honestly was probably coming to try to get that little primita. Can you imagine though? Like, imagine you're sleeping in a bed and La Llorona comes to take your little primita away, and like she's just asleep and La Llorona just comes in, like takes it away. What are you gonna do? You're gonna be like, no, don't take her away. Like, give me her back, you know? Like, you heard the story about my uncle, right? So yeah, that little girl will be gone. Anyway, so yeah, that's the story of La Llorona. My sister-in-law, she actually ended up going into the same bedroom as my brother-in-law and waking him up and be like, hey, like, La Llorona's outside. And he's like, you know, let me sleep. Like, just leave me alone. But yeah, that's the stories, some of the stories that I have of La Llorona involving my family. if you like this video, because that's about it, all I got. But if you like this video, if you like the mukbang and you want me to do another one, sorry, it's just popcorn and Valentino. Like, I'm literally sitting here and putting the Valentino on my popcorn, just like chilling. But yeah, that's it. I'm gonna get to watching Sex and the City season 2, episode 10. But like this video, subscribe to my channel. There's a button down below, a little red one, just in case you miss it. And then hit the bell icon to notify you when I upload new videos. And like always, remember to stay spooky. I'll see you next time. Bye.